to bring his ass to this ring. Give me a hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I tell you what, you better be bringing something to help guide your steps. W.B. Ward back with you.
And I'm Chip Douglas.
Got another episode of SCI Wrestling.
What was that comment, by the way?
I'm sorry?
What was that comment that you made?
Oh, about him bring
Yeah,
something to hang on to?
steps.
Well, you... well, like you were probably needing a little help getting up the steps. You've had a little bit of adult beverages.
I would say this is going to be a really good show.
Yeah, this will definitely be interesting. Definitely be interesting. I'm actually the straight guy tonight. and I'm not even feeling very well.
And we have a guest.
Yes, I understand. A last minute guest got lined up.
Absolutely.
That would be the one and the only
Marcus Hathcock.
Okay, I'll let you say his name.
Thank you.
Being as inebriated as you were, I was really looking forward to hearing you try to say Hathcock
What
and keep a
nickname
straight
did we give
face.
him?
Do what?
What nickname did we give him?
I don't know that we gave him one.
We gave him one.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh man, now you're relying on my memory.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I don't recall. I didn't remember we gave him
Beaver? Maybe? No.
Marcus the Beaver Hathcock.
No.
No.
All
Maybe he'll remember.
right.
We'll check with
We'll
him.
see. We'll see.
Had an interesting week in wrestling.
You know, I'm just gonna say for the fact that he might be more intoxicated than I am.
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting show.
Be a fun show.
Okay. Do you, usually I ask you before we start recording, just so I'll be prepared. Did you, in fact, get this week's tweet of the week?
I did.
You did?
I did.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to be sure before I hit that button because we're rolling up there, getting the countdown starting. Here comes
9,
Jethro.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
You ready for my
1,
high harmony?
0.
Let's do it.
What time is it, kids?
Tweet of the week.
Oh, here we go.
And this week's tweet of the week is brought to you by WBCreativeHumor.com.
Okay.
Hold on. The phone's loading. Hold on.
Oh, this is fun. Listening to an inebriated guy try to operate a smartphone.
I hate you. All right, here we go.
Yes.
Their Twitter handle's really weird. WBCreative_ish.
Oh.
That's the Twitter handle.
Oh.
All right, so it goes, it's only a matter of time before Vince thinks it's a good idea to have Rusev join ISIS.
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 Okay. Yeah, that I could see that. I could see that. Okay.
I ruined that, didn't I?
Well, yeah, it sounded like you were almost afraid to say the name, so you were just spelling it in hopes maybe somebody else would say it. You know, those are the people that have been cutting everybody's heads off.
Oh.
Yeah, that's, yeah. Oh, okay.
I've been living so much in the world of professional wrestling, I had no idea what's going on.
Yeah, they're not a nice group of people, which kind of brings up a little bit of a, I don't know if it's a controversy or not, but did you see the episode of Raw where Big Show yanked down the Russian flag?
I did.
Okay. WWE on WWE.com posted an apology that said, we at the, let me get it up here, we at the WWE would like to apologize to the Russian people for the incident on Monday Night Raw that could have been construed as a disrespect for their nation's flag. And I was wondering, was there genuine outcry for that? Or is this something they're kind of creating just to keep their names in the headlines? And then I started realizing, wait a minute, they're starting a lot of European affiliates. They may have, in fact, ruffled a few feathers with that one.
I think it's more than anything.
You think it's what?
To me, it's like they didn't think before they act.
You know, I think it was a natural step because the way they had those flags hanging, they were all within arm's reach and they were just huge. So it was just a matter of time, I thought, before somebody would reach up there and just yank it down.
What if Rusev pulled down the American flag?
And oh man, you could not have contained the audience in their seats.
Exactly.
And I was thinking about did they really have to apologize? And B, my big question would be, why should we apologize? This is,
Whoa,
and I'm
hold
well,
on.
well. This is one American speaking purely for myself here. Having been through the wars that I've seen and both experienced, having had my son fighting overseas, and in both cases, seeing our flags degraded abroad and at home, to this day, it's real easy to find examples of where our flag is being taken advantage of from people who display it inappropriately on purpose, like, for instance, hanging our national flag upside down, for instance, because they don't like what they have here. They don't have any problem coming over taking our benefits, but they don't show any respect for the flag. I'm getting sick and tired of having to apologize for every little mamby-pamby out there who pretty much walks away and go, they stomped on my flag. Enough of that. I'm getting tired of seeing our flag burnt and then getting our hands smacked whenever there's a professional wrestling stunt.
You bring a very good point. Wow.
I think I bet you anything this one's going to get played a lot, and I'm going to catch some heat over that.
You will.
And, that actually backs up my point. Why I would get heat off of that, because the very people who are exercising their freedom of speech doing what they're doing, which I and my son and tens of thousands of other men and women have fought and in a lot of cases died for, will in fact attack me for standing up for my rights. So, anyway, I didn't mean to turn this into a real heavy-laden political forum, but I got to tell you, that kind of scratched me a little bit. Well, I tell you what, I tell you what, let me pull back here just a little bit and let's look at this week's countdown.
Number 10.
The Usos restored their winning ways and therefore remained in the top 10, having knocked out Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil in a tag team clash on Raw before Jimmy Uso came out on top against Stardust on WWE Superstars.
Number 9.
Well, it's a big show.
Big Show debuts at number 9 this week after a solid push against Rusev. The WWE Universe is clearly behind the world's largest athlete in his unwavering display of patriotism.
Number 8.
WWE World Heavyweight Champion Brock Lesnar certainly has no shortage of challengers for his coveted title. However, Lesnar will bide his time before granting a title opportunity, while his advocate, Paul Heyman, warns the aspiring contenders of what happens when you messed with the beast incarnate. It will be interesting to see if the champ remains in the top 10 too much longer unless he makes some more in-ring appearances.
Number 7.
Can one call himself Mr. Money in the Bank if he's lost possession of the physical briefcase containing his guaranteed world title contract? Seth Rollins can now put that question aside after retrieving his case on Raw, then exacting revenge for its disappearance against Dean Ambrose and John Cena. By the way, the color green somehow works on Mr. Rollins.
Number 6.
Double trouble may now await Divas champion AJ Lee, who lost a well-fought battle on Raw against an opponent in Alicia Fox, who just also happens to be the best new friend of Paige. AJ, however, did make an impressive appearance on SmackDown and managed to gain some amount of payback from Paige and her newest friend.
Number 5.
It's a shame for fate, lost her head.
United States champion Sheamus ended his week on an awesome note, having dispatched The Miz and Damian Mizdow on SmackDown just days after the Celtic Warrior clobbered the latter on Raw.
Number 4.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
Randy Orton appears to resent his role as the Authority's defender of Seth Rollins, and that frustration led to disqualification losses to John Cena and Dean Ambrose on Raw and SmackDown. Could this be a sign of a shakeup within the Authority?
Number 3.
I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world.
Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler certainly stole the show once again, having successfully defended his title in a thrilling triple threat match on Raw just days before dominating The Miz and Damien Mizdow on SmackDown. His actions this week solidly lands him in third place for the second week in a row.
Number 2.
Dean Ambrose's desire to get his hands on Seth Rollins remains unwavering, although Raw and SmackDown proved that the enigmatic grappler won't receive a clear path to his former Shield cohort. And now, with this week's climb to the top of the chart,
Number 1.
John Cena finds himself fighting a battle on three fronts. On one side, he hardly looked like a winner in his disqualification victory against Kane and Randy Orton on Raw. On the other side, Cena still cannot get his hands on Seth Rollins. Most importantly, Dean Ambrose helps to handle Rollins before Cena can. That's this week's SCI Top 10 PowerPoints.
Turn it up!
Oh, how long has it been since you've heard that?
Oh,
that
my
song?
goodness. A little bit too cool up in this place?
Yeah, you better believe it. I just thought, I think I'll start using wrestler songs coming out of the countdown and using songs from wrestlers whom we all know and love, but have not heard from in a while.
I have a big issue, though.
Oh?
John Cena, number 1.
Hey, blame the WWE Universe for that.
Really?
Yeah, this is exactly where I'm getting it from. Those are the people who voted that one in. Same people have put Brock Lesnar at number 8. But Brock, in all fairness, though, Brock Lesnar has not been very visible.
But yet he's a champion.
He's the champion. That's true. But, out of sight, out of mind, and after a while, it'll be interesting to see if he remains on the countdown much longer. And, of course, he will come back on it as Hell in the Cell approaches, with him and Cena going at it again.
I had a conversation with someone earlier today. The fact that, we're talking about college football. And we're talking Florida State being the number 1 team in the country.
Okay.
They are the national champions. So why wouldn't they be number 1?
Well, okay, but that's in football.
So if Brock Lesnar has a title, why wouldn't he be number 1?
Again, you'd have to ask the WWE Universe over that.
Well, I'm asking
now,
right now.
on WWE's top 10, the ones that WWE puts together, Brock Lesnar is, I think, at like number 2. He may even be number 1 now that I think about it. I don't recall. But he's certainly a lot higher up the ladder. But then again, on the same respect, on the WWE countdown, Dolph Ziggler is, I don't even think he's in the top 10.
Which is pathetic.
And at least the WWE Universe has that absolutely right. I'm glad to hear the Universe has put Big Show into that. That's Big Show's debut on the top 10 chart since I've been doing that.
I agree.
Now, oddly enough, I've noticed Damien Mizdow and The Miz get mentioned in the countdown, but they are not in the countdown.
Right.
Which I think is kind of interesting because it kind of shows where they stand in the grand scale of things.
So today's episode's a little bit of a special episode.
Yes.
And I kind of threw this at you last second.
Yes.
Because the fact that I got
To test my professionalism.
Exactly. I got random text messages this morning from a good friend of ours named Marcus Hathcock.
Well, you think we should give that guy a call?
I think so, because I think he has some stuff to say.
Okay. Marcus Hathcock.
W.B.
Hey, what's going on, guy? Long time no hear.
Yeah, it's been a while, boys. How you been?
Doing great. Mr. Chip is sitting next to me over here.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How have you been?
I've been well, my friend.
I'm thinking between the three of us, I'm the only straight one here.
W.B.
Boy, that speaks volumes.
Now, W.B.
That speaks volumes. Okay. Well, you're just going to be a bowl full of fun, aren't you?
Evidently.
What's funny is the fact that when I originally found out that he was a wrestling fan, is we were in a bar in Oklahoma City, and that's when I found out that Marcus Hathcock was a wrestling fan.
Do you remember what was on?
I don't.
I do, dude. It was AWA, and it was Nick Bockwinkel versus somebody, and I said, "Oh man, wrestling's on. I'm a big wrestling fan." And you went, "Oh yeah, who is that right there?" And it was Nick Bockwinkel being interviewed, and I said, "Oh yeah, it's Nick Bockwinkel." And you're like, "Okay," and then you started talking to me about it.
Well, he was probably impressed that you knew who Nick Bockwinkel was.
I was.
Because I couldn't spit it out twice just now, but I did then.
Most people now under the age of 40 think that was a cartoon character off the Bullwinkle show.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, we were discussing a pretty heavy topic a little earlier. Wanted to get. I was kind of curious to bounce this off of you. What was your feel? Or did you see Monday Night Raw?
Yeah.
What was your feeling when you saw the Big Show rip down the Russian flag?
To me personally, I don't care. I mean, I've seen worse in wrestling, really. But as far as it goes, I mean, I get it. Of course, there's going to be someone offended by that. But to me personally, it's wrestling and let it go.
Sure. And I'm thinking too, since WWE is now literally reaching around the globe and they're opening the markets in India, China, across the vast European nations, things like this, they're going to kind of have to tone down some of the characters. Like they may have to do a rewrite of the Rusev character, for instance. Long gone are the days where they could use, and I think this is a shame. I wish we didn't have to do this, but when they could use things like Ivan Koloff, one of my little brother's former managers, Skandar Akbar, who was a Iraqi Sheik, I believe, is the character
Correct.
that he played. And I think they'd be kind of afraid to even walk that line nowadays, and I think that's a shame that we have to be that politically correct. But then again, my favorite color is peanut butter. What the hell do I know?
But they do it in a way too, like when they switch them so that they're not offending people. Like how Kofi Kingston was from Jamaica, but he's really from Ghana. Rusev's Bulgarian.
Yes.
Just nobody knows where that is, so they say Russia.
And by the way, what he speaks when he's on the show is Bulgarian. He doesn't speak Russian.
Yeah, so they kind of set themselves up because they're trying to cater to a broader audience who won't know where they're really from. But
that's true.
Yeah, but
true.
hey.
Well, and like Chip said, he kind of threw this at me at a last minute notice. So I'm going to kind of throw this right back at Chip. Did you have something specific you wanted to address with Mr. Hathcock?
Because I wake up this morning and I get a long text from you, Marcus.
Yes.
And so I really wanted to give you the opportunity to express your opinions on the John Cena situation for possibly more people to hear. So what I want you to do is this is your platform right now to go and express your opinion of what's going on right now in WBE.
Okay. It's mostly it's going to be about WWE, but it's about these fans that I see on these, you go and look at these insider, and I'm doing bunny ears, websites, and you read the message boards and stuff, and it's just ridiculous. Nobody is satisfied with anything. Does anything make these people happy?
No.
Like nothing you do will. And at the beginning of the year, granted, the Rumble sucked, and they were going with Batista, but they switched it up. You got Daniel Bryan. That was in my opinion, best WrestleMania of all time. And all you heard about was Brock Lesnar. Oh, he shouldn't have broken the streak. Well, why not? Maybe this now, him being the champion, was the plan all the time. He breaks the streak. He's a badass regardless. Anyone who would have done it was Brock Lesnar. Now he's the champ. That doesn't make you happy. So what happens is, okay, John Cena now. You hate John Cena so much. One of the best SummerSlams I've seen in a long time, at least the main event. That main event where he suplexed him 16 times was a statement. They meant to do that. It was pure domination. And then people were mad at the main event. It was boring and all that. Well, you hate Cena so much. Why are you mad that he's losing in such dramatic fashion? If you want somebody new, there's Brock Lesnar. He is as legit a heavyweight champion for WWE as they can get. And really, Cena is the only guy that can test him. And now everyone's upset that he's gotten himself involved, and I'm doing bunny ears again, with the Rollins and Ambrose feud, when really, if you look at it from, and I know creative writes it, Rollins got involved in the Cena-Lesnar feud. And they did that on purpose because Cena is their top guy. Regardless if you love him or hate him, he is irreplaceable, and everybody else on that roster could be replaced. But you add Ambrose and Rollins to that feud, and it's going to draw money because you're unsure if a solid Rollins-Ambrose feud is going to draw that money. Brock Lesnar's part-time. Cena's still around, so he's the guy on Raw every week that you're going to see doing this. I hate when they get so mad that they, John Cena this and John Cena that. Like him or not, that guy is going nowhere. And I'm not a big John Cena fan, but business is good because of Cena.
You're really not going to get very far here, Mr. Hathcock, if you don't open up. I mean, pulling back on your opinion like that is not going to get you anywhere. What do you really think? Oh man, wow. No, and you are so. I could not agree with you more on the way people are reacting. And no, people do not know what they want. They think they do. The worst thing in the world that WWE or any other production company could do would be to listen to their audience a lot of times, because a lot of times what they think they want is not what they would pay to see.
Right.
And I think you've nailed it. And you look on any website. Okay, like what? I'll give you an example of one outside of professional wrestling. As Chip knows, I've recently started helping supplement my income by recording audiobooks. Of whenever an author writes a book, they'll come to me and say, "Hey, I want you to read the book out loud and record this for me." I joined an online group of people who do nothing but record audiobooks. I finally quit reading that because it was just a back padding thing where everybody had everything good to say about everybody, and it was just like, my God, I'm going to slip into a diabetic coma if I stay here too much longer. So I just totally ignore that. You cannot go by what you find on the internet, folks. You just cannot go by that.
Right.
And I think.
Well,
go ahead, Mark.
All you see now is the problem is you've got all these, and I'm doing bunny ears again, these old school fans, but they're 15. How old school can they be? And their favorite wrestlers are people that, are barely getting to NXT now. Their main event and their dream WrestleMania main event is a Kevin Steen versus, Jeff Hardy. And you're going, what is that? That can't just happen overnight. Kevin Steen's not just going to come out of NXT and start, beating John Cena. They build it. There's a purpose to this.
He won't have Kevin Steen's name.
Yeah.
Well, you are so right with your 15-year-old comment. I'll bet you the average wrestling fan today, if you use the term juicing with them, they would think it would be some kind of an apple drink you get out of a box,
or some synthetic marijuana.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely correct. I've never heard somebody so inebriated be so lucid in all of my life.
And I haven't even begun to become inebriated.
Man,
it's one beer in.
Oh man, I tell you, I don't hold liquor very well. I mean, I'm at my age, I don't even hold food very well anymore. Earlier for dinner, I had a bowl of Boston baked beans and a peanut butter sandwich. Now I've got a fart stuck to the roof of my butt. But anyway.
You like that?
What did we say there?
I have no idea where that came from.
It's like you've defaulted on a penalty, like in football where they offset each other. You just kind of
yeah, kind of like Alabama.
I saw that.
Chip, I'm sorry. I
No.
stole your thunder on that one.
Oh,
But you forget I don't care about Alabama football.
oh, that's right. You're a Hawaii guy.
Yeah, so
Well, now I've zapped Alabama, and actually I took Chip's thunder on that one. And earlier this week I got to zap the Oakland Raiders.
there you go. Well, everybody does.
Oh, watch your mouth, bite your tongue.
Yeah, Chip is a big Oakland Raiders
Weekly.
fan.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mentioned on Facebook I was searching in my DVR for The Biggest Loser, and all I got were Oakland games.
Nice.
And we're no longer friends, by the way.
Oh man!
We just do a radio show together.
Hey, 3 times you mentioned you were doing quote the bunny ears thing.
Yeah.
That speaking of bunnies, the gimmick that they've got currently going with the bunny with Adam Rose, all of a sudden getting involved in matches. I've postulated to Chip before. This is a known wrestler whom we have not seen for a while, whom will be revealed.
Oh, do you know who it is? I'll tell you who it is.
No, I don't know, and that's what I was going to ask you.
It's Justin Gabriel under there.
Are you sure? Because that looks a little tall to be Justin Gabriel.
Really?
Yeah, it's Justin Gabriel under there. So I don't know if they're going to reveal. I seriously think they're not. I think it's just going to be the bunny, and I don't think it's going to last very long. But everybody's crapping on that. I mean, it is what it is. It's funny. Yeah, the guy's not going to be a world champion. Just take it for what it is. It's the bunny and Adam Rose. It's not Triple H and The Rock '98. You know what I mean?
I was thinking eventually they were going to pull a gobbledygooker type of promotion and have him pull his mask off to reveal that he is some,
Sting.
Well, that thought did
That'd be
that'd
be crazy.
That thought did cross my mind.
I don't know. There's no way Sting would agree to that. I can't imagine.
No way.
There's no all that to be the bunny.
No
That'd
way.
be awesome, though.
I would have a hard time believing that one myself, but that would be the only logical one that I could think of where they were going to do a review.
Or Santino's return.
Santino Marella?
Yeah, supposedly he's coming back from that career-ending injury, so we'll see.
I was going to say I didn't think he was going to be able to come back.
Randomly I saw Santino is coming back. I don't know if he's going to wrestle or what, but I saw somewhere. Yeah, he's maybe just announcing or something.
I'm beginning to wonder if they're using different people for the rabbit because the height of the rabbit seems to vary from one show to the next.
I don't know. I literally just saw it somewhere where it was where they're like, you got a talented wrestler and Justin Gabriel under there and all that, and it was like, okay,
well,
weird.
I was going to ask you, what is your source on knowing that this is Justin Gabriel?
That was on that app that I have, that PW Mania or Pro Wrestling. That app that you can get on.
Is that pretty reliable information?
Yeah, that Jason Powell.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah
PW.net.
Okay.
ProWrestling.net. ProWrestling.net.
So that's pretty reputable.
Usually before the show goes on, I do a little bit of research by going through Bleacher.com. That's a pretty good source of information.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, they're pretty good. We have one of the writers from Bleacher.com on as a guest ever so often, and so we tend to pick up a few tips. However, what's this guy's name?
Donald Wood.
Donald Wood. Yeah. He insulted me one time because I happened to get every single prediction on a pay-per-view correct.
Nice.
And he was saying, well, I wouldn't be bragging about that too much because, that really doesn't say much for you if you're able to accurately predict each and every match at a pay-per-view. In fact, where I got those predictions were off of Bleacher.com. I just,
oh, really?
I just stole them myself. I didn't have the heart to tell him he was biting the hand that was feeding him. I didn't have the heart to tell him that because I didn't want to admit that I have no imagination whatsoever, and I had to go steal my material somewhere else. So I didn't want to go walk down that aisle if I absolutely could avoid it.
All right, so we
irony.
I know, right?
Right, so we mentioned, we briefly talked, through text message. So we're looking at superstars that can make an impact right now, and you mentioned Daniel Bryan's injured. Roman Reigns is injured right now. I mean, we don't know when both of those are going to be back. Besides Cena, besides Ambrose, who are you seeing as the next superstar? Because they have to build someone up to be that face of the company.
Cesaro.
Really?
Yeah.
As a face or a heel?
Heel.
Okay.
I think you can do that. I think, well, if you're going everyone besides Cesaro, and here's why. I was watching something about the new video game.
Mm-hmm.
Their big thing now is global expansion and all that.
Yes.
Cesaro speaks 5 languages. He basically is the European ambassador over there, besides Sheamus. But Cesaro, and man, he can get massive pops. He can get the crowd behind him. After he won that Battle Royal in WrestleMania, he was big, became the Paul Heyman guy, and then things kind of turned, and now he's jobbing. But I think if they really got serious with Cesaro, who can have unbelievable matches, like I just watched one with him and Sami Zayn, he can put it on in the ring. I think he can do it in and out of the ring. Cesaro.
I'll tell you one surprise push that I really think is going to happen after this next pay-per-view is going to be Damian Sandow.
He's actually been the best now than he's ever been.
And I think they are remaking his character by starting off with this bit about him serving as the Miz's stunt double.
He's more over than the Miz.
And I'm thinking that after this next pay-per-view, you're going to see a major push on with Damian Sandow. I've always said from the very beginning, I felt that Damian had star quality, and they are totally misusing him. And I'm thinking they are preparing to use him a little better.
They thought that too, because remember he won Money in the Bank, and then something happened or plans changed, and they dropped that real quick.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
So with Damian Sandow being in mind, we're looking at Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins, he holds the briefcase in his hands, feuding with Ambrose, kind of feuding with Cena at the same time. Where do you possibly see Rollins cashing in that Money in the Bank with Lesnar being the champion?
Well, okay, when they did that at Night of Champions, I was like, that's. And afterward, it was good that they did that because everybody just kind of went, well, fuck, he's not going to cash in now that Brock's champ. And it kind of showed that, hey, look, regardless of who it is, if he's hurt enough or at the right time, Seth can do it. So he could cash in on Brock. I don't know, but he's got to do it, in a year? So
right.
You don't know. It depends what happens. I think it'll be after this year's WrestleMania. Because whatever happens there with the title and all that, you go to Seth. Eventually, I think the plan was for Reigns to win it and have Seth and Reigns go at main event the next WrestleMania. But maybe Reigns now is with the injury and he's kind of boring. I mean, I like Reigns, but he's not the most exciting guy. I don't know.
One person I can see them dropping in a hurry is Seth Rollins. I think he is such a weak character. He's getting to the point where he's not even being believable, at least not to me anymore. I think they may even be getting him set up because they're already starting to show cracks in the storyline with Randy Orton, complaining about having to go in and clean up his messes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking they may be scaling him back here pretty quick.
They've pigeonholed him a little bit.
A little, man. He's been pigeonholed. He's been pigeonholed tighter than if you were to wear pointy cowboy boots and corner a cockroach in a corner. He is
something
really,
like that.
Yeah, he is really pigeonholed.
So can we see a Randy Orton turn then?
I hope so.
And really, right now, it's like. Randy Orton, it's like, who cares? They've kind of made him on the back burner, too.
Yes, they did. That's true.
It's kind of like, there's Orton.
I think having him do a turn going face is the only way you're going to be able to revive him.
Yeah, I think they're just kind of waiting to figure something out with him because he's just been since chilling. Hey, here against Jericho, and then here and here, but really nothing. Well, him and Reigns got hurt. He was having that thing with Reigns. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And another person that's just been showing weakness week after week after week is Kane. So it kind of makes me wonder, what the hell are these guys thinking? Are they getting ready to have some kind of a really, really genius type comeback, or are they suffering from one of the worst cases of writer's block that's ever been seen in professional wrestling?
It seems like the latter.
Oh gosh, I hope that's not the case.
Because, the injuries with everybody have really thrown a loop probably into everything. Because Daniel Bryan probably still would be champ.
Yes.
He wouldn't have lost it. And then with Reigns getting hurt, he was supposed to be the big, mountain climber. Because when I went over here to this live event in July in Pensacola, the main event was it was Reigns versus Kane. So, there was no John Cena there and all that. So they were really making Reigns the main eventer. And then he gets hurt. So they're kind of, they are having to change on the fly, but it's kind of boring.
On one hand, though, I'm hoping WWE, not WWE Creative, but just WWE, is learning a valuable lesson from this, because they've been making the mistake of putting all of their apples in one basket over and over and over. They started with John Cena, then they started doing it with Daniel Bryan. They really didn't have any main eventers because they've not really been working with the talent very well. Now they may be backed into a corner where they're having to polish up the Damian Sandals, the Dolph Zigglers, and even the kid from Oklahoma. Who can't talk very well. Swagger. They're going to have to start priming all these guys to be possible main eventers because their main eventers are injured.
But yeah, it's like exactly what's going on, because they'd had them primed. You had Ziggler as champ, you had Cesaro building, you had all these guys like move. It was like, okay, here we go, the influx, and then out of nowhere, everybody just started jobbing. And they just didn't know what to do. You've got Rollins and Ambrose, but they're still relatively new, and they aren't, regardless of what everybody on the internet says, they aren't the John Cenas, they aren't the Brock Lesnars yet. They aren't.
Now,
so
I am
kind of stuck.
I am happy as anybody to see Big Show finally starting to get a little bit of a pushback once again, but at Big Show's age, now that he's reaching the what you would have to be considered the golden years within his professional wrestling career, he's got fewer miles ahead of him than he has behind him. So he's on a show-by-show basis, he's slowly running out of fuel that he can drive this wrestling vehicle in. So they better start priming the pump on these other wrestlers that are coming up and bring in some more of this really good talent from NXT that I keep hearing about. But they never keep showing.
NXT's got some solid ones, but then, you've got, and to me, I don't know how you guys feel, but Rusev is just not, you can put him against anybody. That's why the whole flag thing doesn't bother me, because the whole, Soviets or whatever, Japanese against Americans it's outdated. It doesn't matter. And the Rusev character is so one-dimensional, it's boring to me. And you can push him all day, but I'd rather see 4 or 5 NXT guys over a Rusev, or even a Bo Dallas.
Well, the big problem with the Rusev is they keep trying to play what would be called a Cold War plot to an audience that did not experience the Cold War. Now, members of the audience who are my age and older are into what Rusev is doing because we experienced the Cold War. We were there during the 7-minute crisis when the Cuban Missile Crisis was going on, when the Soviet Union had the missiles just 90 miles off the coast of Florida. We were part of that generation, so we get that. But unfortunately, with the state of education within our public schools is so poor, I bet you anything. I just mentioned the Cuban Missile Crisis. I'll bet you anything. There's a lot of people listening to this broadcast going, huh? They don't have a clue what I'm talking about.
I think it's a punk band.
Yeah. Oh, Cuban Missile Crisis.
There's my new band name.
That's it right there.
There you go.
But he brings up such a good point, because the fact that WBE has a huge issue with pushing people that they want to push. Rusev, perfect example. I'm going to groom him into be this big bad heel but yet the audience is booing, not because they don't like him, but it's because they don't like the character.
Mm-hmm. They don't care. They don't want to see him.
They don't care. Exactly. That's my point. And that's what WWE right now, to me, does not grasp. Daniel Bryan was created by the fans.
Yeah, that's true. Personally, I think they ought to bring back puppies.
Good point. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Why not? But, but everyone that they've had success with has been created by fans. Stone Cold Steve Austin, that was not created by WWE. That was created by the people.
That's
The
true.
Rock was created by people. That's what John Cena. As much as people would hate him right now, he was created by the people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with that being said, we have Brock Lesnar.
Should I be humming America the Beautiful now?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
And so we have Brock Lesnar. As a champion right now, which we talked about through text, just briefly. We have him as a champion right now. Where do you see the people, as far as us as an audience, seeing where Brock Lesnar will go with this title?
Yeah.
And that's to you, Marcus, by the way.
Where does he go with it?
Yeah.
You have to. I think he may. It depends. See, here's the thing. If what's true is that Reigns and Bryan should be back right around the Rumble, it's hard to tell. He's not going to lose it before the end of the year. He will have it going into 2015. I don't know if he takes it to Mania, but I'm thinking he probably will, and maybe against Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns he's the one that can take down Lesnar and instantly made on Reigns, ? That's my prediction.
Personally, I would really rather see somebody have the belt who actually works for WWE. It'd be kind of nice to see the champion more than just on fleeting glimpses every now and then.
That's, what I think about that? I agree. I think that too. But kind of like the old days, you know how you would watch wrestling on TV and you might not see the champ? The champ wrestled on special occasions. It's like, I'm not concerned with Raw. I wrestle on pay-per-views. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. But it'd be nice if he showed up weekly.
Yeah, at least come in and ruffle the feathers.
Yeah, do something. But he can't talk. He's boring. That's the only thing with Lesnar.
And when you see his profile from the neck up, he looks like a thumb.
No,
I mean,
I hope I don't. I hope I don't offend anybody. He kind of looks like he's got Downs.
Oh!
Well, believe me, this show tonight has not been worried about offending anybody. I hear for the last Halloween costume party, he went dressed in a beige turtleneck sweater and just told everybody he was a penis.
You went there, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I am so ashamed. I'm gonna burn in hell now.
That won't do it. That won't do it.
Right before Marcus.
I'll see you there.
So Hell in the Cell. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, that's going to be at the American Airlines Center in Dallas on Sunday night, October 26th.
I plan on being there, by the way.
So we are only looking at 4 weeks away from that, 4 Sundays away from that. Tickets starting at $25. They go up to $400 unless you get a platinum seat at ringside, and those can go for a pricey $2,000. My question to you, Marcus, is would you spend that kind of money to watch it when you got a better seat at home watching it on WWE Network for only $9.99?
No, not Hell in a Cell. The only one that my ultimate, WrestleMania and all that, I want to be in the first 1 or 2 rows for a Royal Rumble.
Oh!
But not for anything else. I want to see a Royal Rumble live. That is what I want to see live. I've been to a lot, but I want to see a Rumble live.
I have been to a few live matches. Chip and I went to a WWE Raw. We sat on the floor, and that's a mistake I'll never make again. The other times that I got to, before that, I got to go to a few WCW tapings for Nitro and one SmackDown show at the Civic Center here in Tulsa. And on those shows, I actually got to sit up in the spotlight perch. I liked that seat a lot better than sitting down on the floor because it was more television-ish. And as the shows progress, when you're there in person, it's quite obvious this show is being put on for the TV cameras. It's not being put on for the people sitting in the seats in the arena. It makes a big difference. So the better seat really is in your living room. It really is. Now, on the other side of that coin, though, when you're there live, you get to see all the things that you don't see on TV. You can get a little behind the scenes peek, and that is pretty cool. On my Facebook page, I have a picture of myself standing ringside that Chip took of me real quick before the show started and before the bouncers came over and threw us out of the ring area. So that part's kind of cool. And God, I look so awful standing there. I mean, usually you see these huge physiques, these great examples of massive mounds of masculine humanity,
like myself.
And then there was me. I mean, it's just such a letdown.
You can't look any worse than Ric Flair.
I don't know. I don't know. I've had my two strokes, and Father Time has not been very kind. Last summer I tried going out at the lake, and I was wearing my first thong. I looked like a Bartlett pear. I looked like a Bartlett pear with a string wrapped around it. It was not pretty. Halloween came early for everybody on that one.
All right, so I don't even know where to go. You brought up WB Network. Marcus, do you have WB Network?
Oh yeah.
All right, so. What is one thing about WB Network that has brought you to because right now I came to the 6 months subscription, so I just renewed. So what on WB Network right now has intrigued you to keep doing WB Network?
Well, I do. I just do the year, but
big money.
Well,
you signed a year contract?
Oh yeah, it's gonna automatically. It's 6 months and it'll automatic. So I'm doing 60 a month, 60 a pop. But since we started off going, hey WB, honestly, you know what I've been watching a lot of that I'd never really watched before, and I really like. It's not like it keeps me hooked.
It's coming.
It's not like it keeps me hooked. But
say it.
Total Divas.
Yeah.
Damn it! Really?
Total Divas.
I turned around to Chip and I mouthed that title, so he knows that I knew what was coming out of that.
I dig that show, dude.
I do too. I do too. I really like it. Now I don't care much for the when they really start getting personal, like when
that's why
when Naomi went in to have her tubes tied or whatever. I thought
who cares?
But I like the behind the scenes footage.
That's what's cool about it. You see like how it goes down. Like that's what's so cool. You really like. I just watched one last night where Natalia got all drunk and was drunk dialing Stephanie McMahon and left all these messages, and she quit like all drunk. And Stephanie's like playing every message for Natalia and laughing.
Now, are you watching it on the WWE Network, or are you also watching it on the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, both now.
Well, then you're going to love an episode that you're going to see eventually on there. It aired last Sunday on the E! Entertainment Network, and that is where who's that new girl that came back? The Spanish girl.
Oh, where she tries to kiss her?
Rosa.
Yeah, where she not only tries to kiss Natalie, tries to lay a big kiss on her, but she comes onto Paige tremendously backstage.
Oh, yeah.
Paige gets nervous and just walks away.
That's right. Yeah. I did see that one.
Wow.
Wait. Natalia drunk messaged Stephanie McMahon?
Oh, dude, she called her like 5 times and left these voicemails how, I really think I can be Divas champion and blah, 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 and all this. And then like it got progressively drunker and like more like sloppy. And then at the end, she's like, so you know what? I just quit. And Natalia was so drunk she didn't remember any of it, so she didn't know what she said.
Oh,
So it was pretty funny, dude. That's why, dude, it's pretty funny. Like, I'm telling you, watch, dude. Chippy. You're going to start watching it, dude.
What about the Monday Night Wars?
Oh, dude, how awesome is that?
Oh, my gosh.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
have got to watch that. So far,
How
I've been watching
sweet
it just the
is
pay-per-views.
that? No, those are good, dude. Like, I have that DVD, the Monday Night War,
Right.
but this takes it to, like, the upteenth level. Like, every detail, they're getting into how ECW contributed. Every major star is, like, how they changed the tide, and it's so cool, dude. It's awesome.
I think, to me, that is the WB network. That's what should pay it right there.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
It shows like that. That to me is the reason I pay $10 a month. Because the fact that, being able to see the true story of Bret Hart, being able to see ECW's oppression or their footprint on the Monday Night War, me, seeing both of those, that's what won me right there.
Oh, yeah, dude, the one that I really liked, which was random because I'm not a huge fan, was the Mick Foley one.
Oh, yeah. And I was right there with you because the fact that what did Mick Foley really had to do with Monday Night Wars? He had a lot to do with it.
Oh, man, that one line alone is what kind of sealed it for WCW.
Oh, yeah, that'll put a lot of butts in the seats.
Butts in the seats, yeah.
Oh, I remember hearing about that one. Yeah. And that back in those days, the competition between the two companies was just absolutely fierce. What was the turning card, do you two think, that brought the popularity to WWE from WCW?
Go ahead, Marcus.
One single moment?
Yeah, what do you think the defining moment would have been?
Probably the whole, there's everybody, they always show that, but that whole Austin McMahon, once Austin McMahon and then you got The Rock involved, it was just, when you had The Rock and Austin together, you couldn't compete no matter what.
Interesting that you went that direction because I would have thought you were going to say something about where WCW dropped the ball rather than where WWE was really, really excelling.
WCW was screwed the moment Stone Cold and The Rock were made, regardless of what. Yeah, WCW started to do stupid stuff, but it was only because they started to lose.
Yeah, they were getting desperate and trying to do anything to try to.
In wrestling, what's funny is the fact that you have these iconic people. The fact that Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and in that Attitude Era, the fact that they had two people that could lead a generation, Stone Cold and The Rock. That's what made WWE better than WCW.
That is so true. Marcus, my friend, I got to tell you, it's been way too long since we've had you on the show.
Yes, it has been.
And, man,
it's been a while.
Yeah, we got to have you back on here pretty quick. We certainly appreciate you taking time out of your night, and especially on such a, what it seemed to me to be a pretty much at the last-minute arrangement here.
For him, it was.
Made for a great show. Dude. We appreciate you. You have a great night.
Right on, guys.
You have a great night. We'll be talking at you later.
Take it easy, boys.
Man, it's always great to hear from Marcus Hathcock, is it not?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, more news and reviews coming up next week right here on this little show that we lovingly love to refer to as
SCI.